A young boy has gone missing from the village. And since the sun is about to go down, the village folk don't dare to brave the dangers of the woods. All that stands between the boy and sure doom is seemingly the player characters. At least that's the premise of Wicked Witch of the Woods from Runeforged Tabletop Gaming. And I will share my review of this adventure right after this. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. All throughout March, it is Old School Renaissance Month here at the Gaming Gang, and yes, if you follow the Gaming Gang, you already know I cover a lot of OSR releases, but this month we're actually going to lean even heavier into the old school Renaissance. And sticking with that theme, today I am going to share my review of Wicked Witch of the Woods from Runeforged Tabletop Gaming. This is written by William Harshman with artwork provided by Ricardo de Gaspar, Dean Spencer, and Tara Quinn. This 22-page softcover zine with PDF can be had for $9.99. If you want to score just the PDF alone, you can do so for $4.99. Having said that, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Wicked Witch of the Woods. A few things to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, the fine folks over at Runeforged Tabletop Gaming were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the adventure, but I do want to give you a really good feel of what you're going to find inside this zine. And then lastly, it is an adventure. There are going to be some spoilers ahead. So if you are a player, I'm just warning you right up front. All right. First of all, should point out that this is designed for Shadowdark, but that doesn't mean you can only use this with Shadowdark. You can convert this over to just about any old school Renaissance retro clone or original game with very little fuss and muss. All right, first of all, got the credits page. Let's share some credit where credit is due. And then we will dive on in. So the premise of the adventure is this little boy has gone missing from this village. The player characters are just passing on through, and they happen to be approached by the little boy's mother, who is panicking. The father is a huntsman. He is out on a hunt, and the boy has disappeared. And funny enough, the sun is getting ready to set, and the villagers want no part of going looking for this child because the woods are dangerous at night. I have to chuckle because I think I would really play that angle up with my players. Why don't the villagers want to try to save this little boy? Is there something under the surface here that's going on? Do the villagers not like this woman? Do they not like the child? I think I would kind of sprinkle a little, I don't know, distrust of what might be going on. Even though it's all pretty straightforward, still, I like to throw some wrenches into the works with my players. So what's going on here is the little boy has been caught by the Witch of the Woods, and she is preparing to feed off the child's nightmares. So she is off gathering ingredients for her special elixir so that she can really draw out this child's fears and feast on those. So the main premise is going to be the player characters in the witch's cottage and exploring that. There are some traps, there are some tricks. There is the minion of the witch here as well. Something that you're going to want to do as a game master is keep coming back to the witch could be back any minute. So make sure your players feel like they are pressed for time. This is pretty standard fare. I mean, we're pretty used to adventures where children are kidnapped by witches and the player characters have to go and retrieve them, hopefully. This has a few interesting wrinkles in it, so it's not just the same old, but it is a pretty familiar premise. Now, the witch herself, at least in my opinion, I don't think she's all that tough to dispatch. Although you want to keep in mind, this is an adventure for first level characters. I personally think the cottage itself and some of the tricks and traps located within are probably a bit more challenging than the witch might turn out to be. But all in all, a nice, solid adventure for Shadowdark and other old school Renaissance sorts of fantasy role-playing games out there. So that's a peek inside the Wicked Witch of the Woods zine from Runeforged Tabletop Gaming. Swing on over to the other camera so I can share some final thoughts as well as my review score. I gotta say, as far as production quality, pretty nice. I do believe this is print on demand from DriveThruRPG, so it's what we've come to expect. It's got the matte paper, relatively decent paperweights on the paper stock as well. Now, this shouldn't fall apart the first time you break it out at the game table, but then again, it is a zine, so keep in mind, it's not going to hold up to a lot of abuse either. As far as the adventure itself, yes, we've seen this premise time and time again with fantasy role-playing games. Children disappear, kidnapped by a witch. But thankfully, we've got some interesting wrinkles to the proceedings here. I gotta say, I think the cottage is going to be more of a challenge to the players and the player characters than the witch herself, especially if you have 5 or 6 characters taking part in the adventure. But still, all in all, a good, solid tale. And it also makes for a very nice introductory adventure for those who are just getting started with Shadowdark. Although you can utilize the adventure with just about any old school styled fantasy role-playing game too. So on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Wicked Witch of the Woods from Runeforged Tabletop Gaming a 7 out of 10. I like it. Very solid. Like I said, nice introductory adventure for Shadowdark. All right, that's it for this time out. If you like the Gaming Gang and would like to support the outlet, you can do so in a few ways. First, by utilizing our affiliate links to the One Bookshelf sites, such as DriveThruRPG. To do so, simply visit thegaminggang.com, click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. Now, those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. You can also make a one-time donation by way of PayPal and even become a monthly member of our Patreon. You'll find links in the show notes. Also, in those show notes, you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server. Absolutely free to sign up. So be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. And if you ring the bell, be sure to select all notifications, because that way you'll be informed whenever I share videos such as this review. But you'll also be notified whenever my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central, as I bring you the latest in tabletop role-playing game news and a whole lot more. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are never going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and until I see you next time, certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.